Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how you can create a simple SQLite app. SQLite database is a lightweight database which is used to store persistent data in Android app. If a user quits the app, you want to save some data, and that's why we use SQLite. There are other ways also to store data, but in this video we'll focus on SQLite. So let's get started. Open up Android Studio. I will try to create a very simple app for beginners. So for more advanced apps I'll create maybe later. So click on start a new Android Studio project and give your project a name. So this is SQLite. I give it name SQLite. We'll leave everything else as it is. Android Studio does the job to set up everything. And this is a test app, so we're just going to click next and finish. Now you have to wait for Android Studio to finish creating all the necessary files for the app. After Android Studio finishes loading, you should be able to see these two screens, main activity and activity.xml. If you don't find them, you can browse the app, Java, com, and you have your main activity here, and in resources you'll have the layout. This is the screen, basically the layout. All the design files will be shown here. So we're going to add a button and a list view at the bottom. So list view shows the SQLite database, and the button is used to add an entry to the database table. So let's create a button. Match parent, wrap content, give it a text, add contact. So this simple app where we show a list of contacts. Okay, this is a list view. This is also match parent and a wrap content. Okay, we'll make this one a linear layout with orientation or vertical. So at the top will be this, and at the bottom will be this layout. Okay, let's give it an ID so we can reference it in our Java file. Its ID is list view, and this button ID is add contact btn. Give it a descriptive name so you can identify it later. We have a button, it's called the button add. Okay, we initialize it. We have a list view, LV. Now inside on create you have to give reference to the button which you have in the XML file r.id.add contact button. Also give reference to list view so it refers to the correct list view in your XML file. So when the user clicks on add button, we want to take it to another screen. That's how you take user to another screen, by set on click listener. So when user taps on the button, it will do the function, it will do the method or code which we do the inside on click. Intent is used to go from one activity to another activity. We give this the current activity and also the next activity, which is add contact activity. We'll create this. Currently we don't have that, so start activity I. If you see these red lines, just Option or Alt click and it will be removed, or you can also just right click and there should be an option. You can also you have to there's intent is used. Write this intent is used to move from one activity to another activity. So if you see red line beneath it, it means it's not imported. On Mac, if you're on Mac, Option click. If you're on PC, Alt click will import the library for this one. So we have intent. This is Android.content.intent. It's automatically imported. So we don't have this activity. We are going from main activity to this activity. We don't have that one right now. So we'll create an activity. It will be an empty activity. Okay, give it a name, add contact activity. So in this activity, this should also create an XML file. In this activity, we'll add input, where user input the text and we take the user input. Edit text. Oops. Android IntelliSense will give you the option. Just give it an ID of name. We'll take name from user. Give it a hint. Hint is what the user should type, enter name. Also a button to save. Match parent, wrap content, height, add, give it a name, or you can say save contact, or just save. Give it an ID, save button. Okay, change the layout again to linear layout. Linear layout, that's more simple to work with. Just keep orientation to vertical. You should get something like this. Now when user clicks from an activity, when user clicks on add contact button here, it will be redirected to this screen and the user will input name and click save. It will be saved in database, and then we will show the whatever we saved in database, will show it in list view here in main activity. So that's how it is. We're going to again initialize the edit text that we had there. Name edt, also we had a button. Give it a name, button add. Okay, when user clicks on the button, first give it a reference, r.id.save. I give it the name save button. So button add dot, we again give it a listener, on click listener, and what we want to do when the user clicks on this button, we want to take the value of the edit text. That's how we take the value, and we want to store it in database. So first we have to create our database. Also we need to have the methods to save data and to retrieve it. You can find database handler method. It's a class that does everything. You can find it on Google. You just don't have to remember everything. In programming we do a lot of copy and pasting. You don't have to write everything from scratch, so you can just take the code and understand it and use it for your purpose. I have a project which I have a database handler. I'm going to use it, and because I don't remember all the codes, so it's normal. I have 1 year Android developer experience, but I still don't remember all the codes. Just you can copy paste and understand the code. So just we're going to copy paste from here. Don't copy the package name because it's different. Copy. Okay, copy all the code. Also we have to give a class name database handler, so make sure the class name is same, otherwise it will show error. Create a class name, Java class, not an activity, only a class. It's a class. Database handler. Okay, now paste the code here. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about it, give it a brief overview. So SQLite helper is a built-in Android Studio database helper class. So we extended it's an abstract class. We gave our database version. You should give database versions like version 1. This is database name, just give it like this, context. You give your table name a name, so SQLite is like table. I'm going to show you here SQLite table, or SQL table, you can say. It's basically the same thing, SQLite MySQL. Okay, this is like this. We'll have an ID and a name, not these other 4 fields. It's like this. We keep the record, and when we need it we retrieve it. So we have an ID and a name. That's the table column names. And on create, when this we initialize this we make an instance of this, it will run this code automatically. It will create the table. We have table context, mean the name of our table, which is context, and it will create 2 other columns for ID and name. Also create table. What is the most important thing that we need is add contact. We give it a string name just like username, and we store the values.put. okay, and then we insert. It's a method, SQLite method, where you can insert value into the table and the database close. And similarly we get all contacts through this method, get all contacts. We get the contacts there when the user click save, and they store a lot of contacts, so we want to make sure we get all of them in a list. So the list will be a string type. Okay, it will search the table, and the cursor, whatever row that it finds, it will get that row value. Cursor.get string 1 means column 1, so column 0 is ID, column 1 is name. Whatever is in column 1, it stores it in contact, and then we add it to the list view, and then again it returns the list view to us. So it's that simple, and you can use this code and you can add more features to it, but I'm going to keep it simple here. Okay, we have our name.dtt. we're going to initialize the database handler. db is equal to new database handler, and this means giving it this application context. db.add contact, we just give it a string. Now this is a string. We got this string from our name input field. Okay, we pass this into our database. Okay, when the user clicks add button, it will add the contact into the names table. Okay, now we go to main activity and get the list and display it to the user. Currently we have a list view but we're not giving it data, so we need to first retrieve the data from database handler. We have a SQLite table name, so we need to get all contacts. It will give us an array list of contacts, so we also need an array list to store, sorry, mistake, array list string. Array list is used to store the value which we get from the database. Just give it array name here, and all data which it gets from the table will be stored into the array list array. Okay, now you need an adapter to populate the array list to the list view. Give it context this, also give it a simple layout. Since it's a list view, we can use built-in. It's a simple list view of strings, array of strings, so we can use a simple built-in layout like this and pass our array. So the adapter takes context, layout and array. Okay, set the adapter to our list view. Okay, let's run the application. Now that's how it should work. First it will show up this screen because it was our first screen. User clicks on add contact, it will be redirected to this screen. User will enter name, and once the user clicks save, the data will be saved in the SQLite. Okay, the app is still loading. Once it finishes, I'll show it. So on add contact activity, we want to, when we add the name to the database, we want to go back to the previous activity, main activity, to show the list. So again we're going to use the intend. So if you remember, I said intend is used to take user from one activity to another. So we're going to back to the main activity once the user saves the contact on button click listener. So this is the activity from which we go to the other activity. So first give the current activity name and the next activity name which you want to go to, that is main activity.java. Okay, we'll run this code and see. It will take some time, so I'll pause the video, and once it finishes, I'll show you. Okay, so here's the app. It finished loading. This is the main screen which you see. If the user clicks add contact, it will be redirected to the other screen which we have. I'm going to add John when I click save. Okay, we got an error. Let's see why. That's how. Always use blockcat to see the error. It says edit text, get text on null object reference. Okay, we don't give reference to name edit, so that's why we did not give the reference. So we give it reference from the where it needs to take the from our design, from our layout, where it needs to take the value. So the value is from name.edit. In our list view, we give it a name of name.edit id, so it will take it, and so whatever value we have in name.edit, we get it now. Let's run the app again, and the problem should be solved. Add contact, John. Okay, so we have here the contact name, or you can add another name, new. Okay, you can add as many names as you want. So it's stored in the SQLite database and it stays there. So even if we quit the app and open it up again, we can see that still we have the data, so it's stored in database. We can also update the data and do whatever you want with it. So if you find this video helpful, I can also create, update, and maybe create a more advanced application like a note-taking application in the next video. So if you find this app interesting, give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.